You are on the channel Quotes of Great Men. Enjoy watching. We need more understanding of human nature, because the only real danger that exists is man himself. An old man who cannot bid farewell to life appears as feeble and sickly as the young man who is unable to embrace it. Often the hands will solve a mystery that the intellect has struggled with in vain. The primary cause of unhappiness in the world today is lack of faith. What is not brought to consciousness comes to us as fate. Nothing worse could happen to one than to be completely understood. Solitude is for me a fount of healing which makes my life worth living. Error is just as important a condition of life's progress as truth. The starry vault of heaven is in truth the open book of cosmic projection. Individualization does not shut one out from the world, but gathers the world to oneself. Our blight is ideologies. They are the long-expected Antichrist. Simple things are always the most difficult. The unconscious is the unwritten history of mankind from time unrecorded. What was given to us by the past is adapted to the possibilities of the future. The growth of the mind is the widening of the range of consciousness, and each step forward has been a most painful and laborious achievement. Securities, certitudes, and peace do not lead to discoveries. To me, dreams are part of nature, which harbors no intention to deceive but expresses something as best it can. Nature has no use for the plea that one did not know. Consciousness succumbs all too easily to unconscious influences, and these are often truer and wiser than our conscious thinking. Man's task is to become conscious of the contents that press upward from the unconscious. The individual disposition is already a factor in childhood. It is innate, and not acquired in the course of a life. Intuition does not denote something contrary to reason, but something outside of the province of reason. If only simplicity were not the most difficult of all things. It consists of watching objectively the development of any fragment of fantasy. Everything psychic is pregnant with the future. Understanding does not cure evil, but it is a definite help, inasmuch as one can cope with a comprehensible darkness. The meaning and design of a problem seem not to lie in its solution, but in our working at it incessantly. All art intuitively apprehends coming changes in the collective unconsciousness. The educated man tries to repress the inferior one in himself, without realizing that by this he forces the latter to become revolutionary. When you come to think about it, nothing has any meaning, for when there was nobody to think, there was nobody to interpret what happened. Individuation is to divest the self of false wrappings. There is no such thing as a pure extrovert or a pure introvert. Such a man would be in the lunatic asylum. The capacity for inner dialogue is a touchstone for outer objectivity. The maintenance of secrets acts like a psychic poison which alienates the possessor from the community. When an inner situation is not made conscious, it appears outside as fate. Whatever is not conscious will be experienced as fate. Creative power is mightier than its possessor. A special ability means the heavy expenditure of energy in a particular direction, with a consequent drain from some other side of life. Everyone is in love with his own ideas. Only the wounded physician heals. One cannot live without inconsistency. We are a psychic process which we do not control, or only partly direct. Consequently, we cannot have any final judgment about ourselves or our lives. The separation of psychology from the premises of biology is purely artificial, because the human psyche lives in indissoluble union with the body. All the most powerful ideas in history go back to archetypes. New ideas are not only the enemies of old ones, they also appear often in an extremely unacceptable form. Neurosis is always a substitute for legitimate suffering. There is no birth of consciousness without pain. In the history of the collective as in the history of the individual, everything depends on the development of consciousness. People learn from who we are, rather than what we say, and to believe otherwise is a disease of the mind. The man who speaks with primordial images, speaks with 1,000 tongues. Neurosis is the natural byproduct of pain avoidance. Music is the application of sounds to the canvas of silence. Science has destroyed even the refuge of the inner life. What was once a sheltering haven has become a place of terror. An understanding heart is everything in a teacher, and cannot be esteemed highly enough. In each of us there is another whom we do not know. No psychic value can disappear without being replaced by another of equivalent intensity. You can exert no influence if you are not susceptible to influence. The collective unconscious contains the whole spiritual heritage of mankind's evolution born anew in the brain structure of every individual. The unexpected and the incredible belong in this world. Only then is life whole. The psychopathology of the masses is rooted in the psychology of the individual. The more intelligent and cultured a man is, the more subtly he can humbug himself. It is sad but unfortunately true that man learns nothing from history. If you watch to the end, I am very grateful to you. Watch also these videos.